Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. It's 24 February, Sunday evening, 10:45. The Oscars are on. I don't care. It's time to talk about weather. I'm your host, meteorologist DT from weatherrisk.com, and I'm the captain of chaos, the commander of confusion, and the colonel of catastrophe, and also a all-around snappy dresser. Well, not really. And this particular edition of This Week in Weather, we'll be talking about the New England event, which is just winding down now. The Lower Plains blizzard, pretty impressive system there, coming in from February 25, 26, and right through the area of a really serious drought that's been going on. So this is an important moisture event for those guys. And then the possibility of a East Coast event on March 2nd or 3rd, or March 6th or 7th. Not both, either one. And it's possible both events may also miss. So, and then what happens after that as we go into March, we can take a pretty good idea of what March is going to look like as well. So let's get right to it. We'll talk about the eastern New England snow going on right now. This is the 9 p.m. radar. Excuse me. As you can see, it's still snowing pretty good over central and eastern New England. Not a huge snow, but definitely not nothing. And up into southeastern New Hampshire, southern Maine, Rhode Island, and eastern Connecticut. Now, this was my last call map. The first guess and the first call map I issued, I was in New Orleans. I was somewhat distracted by the conference. They weren't my best forecasts by any means. This one I think did okay. Now, there are some things I've done wrong here, so let me be honest about it. Make sure everybody understands it. This is completely wrong. No, there was way too much snow that far here, and also too much snow here in southern Vermont. Now, the big area of snow is in this area right here, so I had the general idea correct, and so that's not too bad. I know a lot of the forecasts, I got a lot of feedback from folks on the Facebook page talking about 3 to 6, 2 to 4 inches of snow, 3 to 6 from National Weather Service. Well, clearly that's also busted because, as we can see here, this is the 9:30 statement from Boston. There are many areas here which are already getting, 8 inches, 11 inches, so on and so forth, heavy snow in these areas. So, there are. And it's still snowing in some of these places. I mean, you can see, look at these 8, 9 o'clock ops, 7, 8 inches of snow, 7, 8 inches of snow is still snowing. So clearly 2 to 4, 3 to 6 was not correct. So, how do I view this forecast? Maybe a C plus or a B minus. It was headed for a disaster score, but maybe a B minus. I should have done better with the first guess and the first call, but like I said, I was distracted. My bad. Any event, let's go on to the next thing in life. Let's talk about the Lower Plains blizzard. It's a doozy coming up here the next couple of days. This is the watch warning, maps from the National Weather Service, our textiles at work. And the orange here refers to, in case you don't know, blizzard warnings. So this is all blizzard in here. This is all winter storm watches and warnings up into here. Very impressive looking system, to say the least. This is the official snowfall cast from the European here, from the folks at Weather Bell. And we can see some nice, very impressive looking snow totals in here. See the white in this area here, that snow, that's like up in here, same thing in here, so very impressive. And it goes up almost to the Chicago area, but look, here's Chicago. It's all to the west of them. Boy, those people just cannot get a snowstorm this year to save their life. And then the next slide, this is the GFS. And again, notice Chicago gets a little bit of snow, but not a lot. And it's all over Kansas and Rockford, Des Moines southward, into Kirksville, and much of central and eastern Kansas, down into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle. But Chicago, they're hosed. Now, why did Chicago get screwed again? Once again, Skilling was out there talking about, I saw this morning on his Facebook page and over on WGN, big snow headed for Chicago. This is the third time he's done this now in 3 weeks, and it doesn't look like it's happening. So let's take a look. This is the service map here at 48 hours. And of course, I pointed this out to you many times here on the Facebook page. This thick blue line here, this is the rain snow line at 850, almost a mile up. So, if you're south of this, if you're warmer than that, if you're above zero, you're too warm for snow. So this is all snow. Kansas City is getting snow. Kansas, Oklahoma, Little Rock's getting snow. But Chicago is too warm. They're getting rain here, and they're getting southeast winds. Now this low has to clear them, but right now they're getting southeast winds. A lot of thunderstorms and rain down in this area, but Chicago and St. Louis, they're rain here, folks. So now this is the upper air map. A very impressive looking upper air map here. If this was in March 26th as opposed to February, this would be a major severe weather event. But we have a lot of above. This is our next system here. Our next system, you can see them all lining up. And we also have this is much above normal heights in here as well. So that's what the upper air map looks like. Now, by the morning of the 27th, the low has moved east to Chicago. Chicago is now cold enough for snow. Maybe they're getting some snow, maybe. A lot of warm air here. You can see that here's the dead low. There's a triple point low right over Philadelphia, Jersey there. A lot of warm air, southeast winds, rain for everybody, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, and then this is the upper air map. Again, we can see our systems coming in from the Pacific behind it. Our next system here, next system here. There's our 50-50 low right there. There's our negative NAO developing right in here. So this storm is going to move up and it's going to join forces with this one. We'll see that later on in a second here. Then we'll talk about the March 3rd and 4th possible East Coast storm. Now, right now, all the teleconnections appear to be in pretty good shape. This is our NAO. All the models showing very deep negative NAO right through March 4th. That's a pretty good sign. This is the P&A here, and we can see very strong indications. March 4th, a nice strong positive P&A. That looks like a good sign. So far, so good. And then if you look at the Western NAO, which is what you want, a negative NAO, which is biased towards Greenland and Canada or to the west. So obviously we call that west negative NAO. But as you can see, it's all constantly negative right through here. All very strong signals. But again, there are problems here, and you can't simply just use, these teleconnections. You got to look at the overall pattern. Now, this is for the evening of the 28th of March. Okay. Now, this feature here. This was the Midwest storm, the one that came in here. See it right there? That's what that came up like this way. That's fine. Here's our 50-50 low. Look, here's our negative NAO right here. See this? Right in this area. There's a negative NAO. It's pushing this way. Very nice. And here's our next feature coming down. It's going to have to go around this one. You see that? This feature is all blocking it, so it's got to go this way. It has to go underneath it. And it does. Now, this is for the evening of March 1st. And this feature started here, and now it's here. See it? See what it's doing? It's going around. And this is, again, the plains low is here, and the other one is here. Now, here's our negative NAO coming in this way. See how it's driving here towards Labrador? That's a good pattern. Here's our P&A ridge developing very nicely. So this system is dropping south. But the problem is that it's going to swing all the way out here before it develops, and we'll see that in a second. And this is the GFS now for March 2nd. It's got the low up here, a lot of cold air. And I mean, we can see a lot of, look at the lines here. We can see the cold air coming southward. This is all very cold, oppressive stuff, all the way down to Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, really cold temperatures. But no storm on the East Coast, not yet. Now, finally, this feature, which started up here and then is here, is now down here. But look what it's doing. It's going to swing too far out. You can see that. And now here's our negative NAO. This continues to drive westward. See that? It's still driving here. It's still driving this direction. See that? That's good for the next system down the road. But this is still too far to the east. And now here it is. This little piece of energy, this is the storm itself in the upper levels right there. It's too far off the coast. Look at the trough axis. See the trough axis is running like this. It's negative, but it's on the coast. You don't want that. You want the trough axis, if I can draw it back again here, you want the trough axis back here. Yes. Okay. No, too far east. Got it? That's the problem. Okay. And sure enough, this is the GFS ensembles, the lows off the coast, lots of cold air. You can see all the cold air that's just pouring southward. Buckets of cold air. Wow, it's cold for early March. But there's the storm too far off the coast. This is the GFS ensembles. Yeah, there it is. You can see, very impressive. This is a huge system, upper levels. I mean, this is a bomb. Look at this monster. Oh my God. This thing is huge, but it's too far off the coast. If this thing was back over Arkansas, I'd be going ballistic. I really would be. But it's not, What are you going to do? And this is the GFS ensembles for day 8. The low is developing nicely, but it's way off the coast, as you can see. Going this way. And again, we have lots of cold air here. Woo, it's cold. It is very cold. All the way down into Louisiana, Florida, Kentucky. That's impressive for early March. Now, this is the Canadian ensemble for day 7. And the Canadian, I'm going to point this out here, that you can see a very strong negative anomaly here over the southeast, just like the GFS. Lots of blocking up in here, high latitude blocking, very impressive. but it's too far to the east. This is the mean of all. See all these maps in here? This is the mean. This is the mean in here. This is the average of all of them. So that's what it's showing. So the Canadian is on board, sort of, but again, it's showing that the system bombs out too far to the southeast and moves off the coast. Now this is the European model for day 8. Day 8, and we can see the European has the same sort of problem. It develops the system here, and it goes like that. Now there's the next system. This one is coming in further to the west, and as a result, it's going to do this, which is going to be a lot more impressive. Now there's a system for March 3rd. It's maybe eclipsed eastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina with snow. Maybe that's going to be close. And again, look at the system here. All these models are in strong agreement. This is a monster piece of energy right here. Look at this thing. But it moves too far off the coast. And there is the European ensembles for day 7, developing the low off the coast. So let's go to the March 6th and 7th event. Now, the GFS doesn't have it at all. It's got a little bit of a disturbance. You can draw it right in here, kind of see it right in here. A little bit of a disturbance in here and something like that, but then it loses it, which of course is typical of the GFS being a crappy model. The Canadian for day 8 also shows, I should have put this in the previous section, but the Canadian also has a system for March 3rd and 4th too far off the coast. All right, now here goes the system for day 9. There's our next system. You can see it coming right in here. That's it right there, baby. And what's it going to do is it's going to drop around here like this. We have a giant 50-50 low in here and a huge block right there. And there's the system on the European. You can clearly see the low trying to form like this right there. There's the low trying to form. Still getting cold air coming in this way. Very nice looking setup so far. Now the European goes to town at day 10, develops a nice system here in the southeast. Very impressive. Huge block here over eastern Canada. Very impressive looking map. And this is a classic looking East Coast snowstorm. But it's day 10. Who knows? There it is right there like this. There's our big 50-50 low. Lots of cold air coming southward. That's a very impressive looking system. No doubt about it. But is it right? This is the European from early Sunday morning. It also had the system. So we're getting a little bit of consistency here. And this is the European ensembles at day 9. Moves it low off the coast. And at day 10, the European, this is the upper air map at day 9. And again, the system is not really there. So it's right in here. This possible system for day 10, somewhere in here. There's a block. Look at this huge block over eastern Canada. Very impressive. And at day 10, the European ensembles aren't really showing the system in the southeast at all. They're kind of weak with it. But that's to be expected. And there's the surface map as well. The Canadian has a little bit of something right in here. We'll see if the Canadian's right. Who knows? And then go further down the road is the Canadian at day 10. Again, the ensembles. This is the mean. We want to take a look at this whole frame in here. Continues to show a nice ridge, a lot of cold air, deep system here, very cold looking pattern going into early March. And then finally the MJO, there it is on the 23rd. It's moving in phase 5, and what happens is it all dies off. The European ensembles on the operational European all show dying off by March 10. You can clearly see that. And then this is the European weeklies. They kill the system by the end of March. It's completely dead. The GFS ensemble kills it by March 10th. And the UCMET kills it by March 10th. And by 300 hours out, the GFS breaks the pattern down a little bit. And then the 360 hours out, it's a pretty benign looking pattern. The Canadian ensembles is much stronger, still keeps it quite cold through day 14 or 15 into March 6th or 8th or 10th. So we'll see if that happens. This is meteorologist DT from weatherist.com. I'll talk to you soon.